I'm Reverend Skip Jennings, and it's my absolute honor to be here. My first official Sunday after my first official week. Oh, my new family, I'm so grateful. So, thank you. So here at CSL, we have 7 core values, and they are love, healing, oneness, abundance, spiritual growth, service, and diversity. All 7 are very important, but today we're going to focus on 1, spiritual growth. When I was in the Air Force, and yes, I was a military man, basic training was probably the most challenging thing I ever did. After being in the barracks the first week, crying every night for my mother, I'm a mama's boy, come Sunday, we had a choice to either go clean the latrines or to go to church. Guess what one I chose? To go to church. I'm a church boy. I was sitting there after feeling so alone, and one of my many bunkmates, we had 40 at the time, came up to me and said, "You know, brother, we're going to make this together." In that moment, I realized God was there with me, and I wasn't alone. I grew spiritually that day. On Thursday, we celebrate Veterans Day. I want all the veterans in the house to please stand up so we may salute you and thank you for your service. I am a proud veteran, and when I chose to serve my country, it was a time that I got the chance to grow spiritually. Our core value today is spiritual growth. Peace and blessings.
You know, this is an historic day, actually. I want to, before we do our Flames of Faith, I want to welcome Reverend Skip to CSL and to let you know that he is officially, in the 50 or so year history of Center for Spiritual Living, the first African American associate minister. So, welcome. It's about time. CSL is part of a global organization with over 500 centers worldwide. We are a spiritual community that honors all faiths and all religions, and that's because we know there's no wrong way to worship, whether you're lighting a candle, repeating a mantra, or offering a prayer. We respect and we honor all ways that bring anyone closer to Spirit, so we celebrate the diversity in religious practices with our ceremony this morning that we call the Flames of Faith. The candle is lit for the Tao to honor the universal path of harmony, the natural way. The candle is lit for the shamanic traditions, honoring the belief and practices of all indigenous peoples worldwide. The candle is lit for Hinduism to honor the spiritual path of devotion and the variety of religious icons. The candle is lit for Judaism to honor the path of sacred law. Candles lit for Buddhism to honor the 4 noble truths and the way of compassion. The candles lit for Christianity to honor the Christ consciousness that lives in all of us. The candles lit for Islam to honor the path of peaceful submission to the will of God. The candles lit for the universalistic religion of Baha'i to honor the path of unity. The candle was lit for New Thought, which is our path, the metaphysical path, the practice of universal spiritual principles. And finally, and probably most importantly, the final candle is lit for peace and for the peaceful acceptance of all faiths and spiritual practices worldwide. So I was watching the Kennedy Center Honors many, many years ago, and they were highlighting the amazing talents and career of the actor Sidney Poitier. Colleague after colleague, friend after friend, family member after another went up there and said how brilliant this man was, and each one of them said, you know, equally, just astonishingly brilliant, genius work. Finally, at the end, he takes the stage, he goes up to the podium, and he says, you know, You would think a man my age would have all the answers in life, he says, but I don't. He says, what I do have, I think right now, finally, are the right questions. Somebody said that all knowledge begins with a question. The right questions, that's the key to life. Are you asking and answering the right questions? So I'm going to start today's lesson with a question that only you can answer, and everyone has to answer for themselves. I brought a little prop with me this morning, so I'm going to show it to you. Here it is, and I'm going to ask you the question. Is this glass half empty, or is it half full? This part of the room said half full. This part of the room said half empty. Some of you will say half empty, some of you will say half full. So the next question is, who's right? You're both right? There's no right or wrong. For those who see what's missing in the glass, it will always be half empty. For those who see what's in the glass, it will always be half full. Questions. Einstein said the only question that we really need to answer is the universe friendly? If the answer is no, the universe is not a friendly place, he said we would exploit our natural resources and we would use our technology to create bigger weapons to destroy those forces that were harmful. But he said if we decide that the universe is friendly, then we would use our technology and our natural resources to better understand each other and life and how it works. He even presented a third option. He said if we decide that the universe is neither friendly or unfriendly, then he said we are just victims of the random toss of life, and our lives have no real purpose or meaning at all. You have to answer this question for yourself. It's personal, believe it or not, because your answer creates your personal experience. If you believe that life is for you, if life is good, you decide that, then you'll wake up with a very different attitude than the person who believes the opposite, that life doesn't work for them and bad things are always going to happen. If you believe that the universe is friendly, you'll show up more hopeful and enthusiastic at work, at play, and at home. You'll have higher expectations that life will improve. And even when things don't go your way, when you don't get the job you wanted, or the guy or girl that you want doesn't want you, you'll have a brighter outlook because in a friendly universe, in the end, everything unfolds for the highest good for all. So if your good didn't come to you, didn't come through the avenue that you wanted it to, one of two things is going to happen. Number one, it will come from somewhere or someone else. Or number two, an even greater good than you imagined and wanted for yourself will be available to you soon. When? I can't tell you how many times I've said, thank God for my unanswered prayers. I'm very happy for my answered prayers, but I'm really thankful for the ones I didn't get answered. Many times I have prayed for the lesser good, because that's all I could conceive at the time. And when I didn't get it, like all of us, I'm upset. But you wait a day or two or a month or two, and an even greater good came my way. Thank God for my unanswered prayers. What do you think? Yes. Are you just the random creation of a cold and indifferent universe that has no purpose or meaning? Are you just biding time, spinning around down here on some little blue speck of a planet, trying to dodge an asteroid that's going to kill us all? What does life mean to you? Have you answered that question? Or is this all just too heavy for you? It's like, this is very philosophical. This is an awful lot of weight for an early Sunday morning. Maybe it would be easier if I just shared a story with you about the meaning of life. Yes, here's the story. On the first day of creation, God created the dog. What else? And the dog, he says to the dog, sit by the door all day long and bark at anybody that walks by. I want you to bark at everybody. And for this, my friend dog, I'm going to give you a lifespan of 20 years. And the dog says, seems like a long time to be barking, 20 years. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll take 10 and I'll give you 10 back. And God says, sure, that's fine. On the second day, God created the monkey. And he says to the monkey, he says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to entertain people. I want you to do tricks. I want you to make everybody laugh. I want you to be silly. And for this, I'm going to give you a lifespan of 20 years. And the monkey said, 20 years seems like an awful long time of doing tricks and entertaining people. What if I give you back 10 like the dog did, and I'll just take 10 years lifespan? And God says, sure. On the third day, God created the cow. And he says to the cow, here's what you need to do. I want you to go into the field. You need to work all day long in the sun. You need to have calves, lots of calves. And you need to give milk to support the farmer's family. And for this, I'm going to give you a lifespan of 60 years. And the cow says, that's kind of a tough life. 60 years in the field, working, having to give milk. I'll tell you what, how about 20 years, and I'll give you 40 back. And God agrees. Finally, on the fourth day, God created man. Greatest creation, best idea ever. So God says, man, here's what I want you to do. I want you to eat everything you can find. I want you to sleep well. I want you to play. I want you to have a good time. I want you to have sex. I want you to go to the Grand Canyon. I want you to see everything I created. I want you to have fun. I want you to have sex. Did I say that? And for this, I'm going to give you a lifespan of 20 years. And the man says, what? Only 20 years? I'm hardly getting started. He said, I'll tell you what, could you give me the 40 that the cow returned, the 10 that the dog gave you back, and the other 10 from the monkey? I mean, that would give me a lifespan of 80 years. That seems reasonable to do all that. And God says, okay, I'll do that. But remember, you asked for it. And this, my friends, is why we spend the first 20 years of our lives eating and sleeping and playing and having sex. And the next 10 years, we are slaving away. The next 40 years, we're slaving away like a cow in the field out there doing our job. The next 10 years, you're acting like a monkey doing tricks for your grandchildren. And then the last 10 years of your life, like the dog, you're sitting on the porch and barking at everybody that comes by. Get off my grass. Everything starts with your personal belief system. Everything begins and ends in your mind with the question that you have to answer for yourself. Is life for me or against me? Is this glass half empty or half full? This is the thing that attracted me to Science of Mind when I was a young man in my 20s. It was this teaching that had this premise, a theory, really, this Science of Mind. All theology begins with a theory. That's why it's called theology. Every religion has its own belief system. Every culture has its stories and its myths, but no one really knows for sure. So you have to pick a truth and a philosophy, one that resonates with you, and then stay open to change. Because as you gather experience, as you gather wisdom in being here on this planet, you will grow and your beliefs may change. And by the way, they are supposed to change if you're growing. So don't be too rigid in saying, this is the truth, it's the final truth, and it's the only way it can be. I love the story of the great Walt Whitman. When he was teaching a class, a student of his interrupted and said, Mr. Whitman, excuse me, pardon me, sir, but I'm pretty sure that you just contradicted yourself. To which Mr. Whitman replied, did I? Do I contradict myself? Do I contradict myself? Well, then I am large. I contain multitudes. Our lesson is this: speak the truth that you know today. And don't be afraid to know a better truth tomorrow. And when you do know better, take your new truth and practice it. So what attracted me most as a young man in my 20s to this science of mind are the three simple and yet profound beliefs that our teaching is literally grounded in. And I thought I would share them with you today as sort of a reminder to us all. So here they are. The first one is this. At the helm of the universe and in control of all things is an infinite, loving, and creative intelligence. You hear us say it all the time. We even sing it. There's one power. There's one presence. There's one life. This, believe it or not, was the great revelation of Judaism. It changed the world and transformed the planet. Judaism, when it became popular thousands of years ago, because primitive people were all out there worshiping different gods, saying, this is our culture, these are our gods. And the Jews said, nope, got it wrong, only one God. There's only one God. The thing the primitives didn't understand is that God isn't a person. It's a power. It's a spirit that has equally distributed itself throughout the universe and exists simultaneously in every location. In the East, the teachings of the Tao, the symbol of the yin-yang, also represents this united nature of spirit. Universe, one verse, one song, one life, one presence. That's the first belief. So in Science of Mind, we answered Einstein's question, is the universe friendly, with a resounding yes. Yes, the universe is friendly. Not only is it friendly, it is filled with the loving presence of one life and one power. The second belief is that, like all creative geniuses, this one spirit has a desire for self-expression. So its nature is to incarnate itself, to create and sustain life in all of its forms, and that includes you. You are the life form of spirit manifesting and experiencing itself as you in this non-repeatable, unique being that you are. And that's what makes you so powerful. And that's what makes you so valuable. Because literally what you are made of comes from the stars. You have God's stuff in your bones. The body that you occupy is made out of stardust. The presence that animates the body, the spirit that is alive in it, is spinning the stars. The one life manifests itself in an infinite variety of expressions. That's the second belief we're founded on and grounded in. And finally, number three, you personally have a direct relationship and connection to this one spirit. This is profound. Listen up, because that means you don't need a savior, and you don't need an overlord, and you certainly don't have any reason to be afraid or fearful. Because the one power that created all life in the universe, that sustains all life in the universe, is a power for good, whose only desire is for the fullest expression of your life. In other words, it wants for you exactly what it wants for itself, the highest possible good. Here they are again. At the helm of the universe and in control of all things is an infinitely loving and creative intelligence. The nature of spirit is to incarnate itself, to create and sustain life in all of its forms. And finally, you personally have a direct relationship and connection to this one spirit, which is, by the way, an immediate and inseparable tie. I'm 64. Not sure how that happened. Guess I kept breathing. Thinking back on my life, 40 years ago, I was 24. I was 24 when I came into this teaching. It's easy for me to see now why I was attracted to this teaching. Because of these three simple beliefs that not only sparked something deep in my heart when I heard them, they also resonated with a truth in my soul. Because you see, like so many of you, I came from a religion that tried to scare me and keep me in fear of a distant deity up there who could and would cause me harm or hurt at any point of his decision. I came from a religion that tried to guilt me into giving and deeply shame me for being true to myself. I came from a religion that didn't see my worth and didn't trust my mind to make the best choices and decisions for my life. So I cannot tell you 40 years ago, at 24 years old, how refreshing it was to walk into a center for spiritual living where I know that I am honored, I am valued, and I am loved for who I am. I've always been sort of interested in marketing and advertising, even as a young man. And I remember in the 80s, the Center for Spiritual Living in Atlanta took out a print ad. Remember print ads? So they did this print ad, and it was a picture of this godlike figure, this old, mean old white man, you know, pointing his finger down in judgment on the world. And the ad said, "Looking for a better God? Try CSL." And with that in mind, to honor Center for Spiritual Living and my teacher, Dr. Kennedy Schultz, who founded CSL, I want to leave you with his wisdom. He said this: "There can be no place in our thinking for a God that is negative or destructive. Our God must be a perfect intelligence that hears no evil, sees no evil, speaks no evil, and does no evil." This, my friends, is a message of Science of Mind, the one that I believe can literally transform the world. There is a power for good in the universe, and its nature is to create. This power, by the way, has a single motivation for all creation: love. We're all here for love. So, is the glass half empty, or is it half full? No matter how you answer, you are right. You are the one who decides how life shows up for you. You are the one who either consciously or unconsciously is creating all of your life experience, because in the end it is true that it's done unto you as you believe. And so ends the lesson. A direct and inseparable tie to love. A direct and inseparable tie to power, to authority, to wisdom. This is why we close our eyes at this time in the service, because we don't want to be confused or distracted by the way things appear in the physical world. We want to go within and feel that presence and feel that power and know that authority and that love. Let's go there now.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within. When I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find
I believe the universe is friendly. I believe the universe is intelligent, and it only creates what it wants to experience and express. I believe that I am its creation, and so are you, and that we have been intentionally created and infused with power and love and joy, and set free to be ourselves in this world. Each of us with a unique task, a unique gift, something to bring to the world that will change it forever, even if it's just our love for each other. Love, the most powerful force in the universe. The love that Sadie felt for her husband, Jerry. That love that came into the world changed the planet. Two people who love each other changed the world. And when you love yourself, you are loving God as you. Let's take a few minutes just to sit in silence, to turn away from all the reasons why we think we're not lovable and not worthy. Let's take just a minute to turn away from the old religions that made us bad and wrong. Let's come out of the darkness into the light where we belong in the presence of love. Let's be still. This powerful spirit, this perfect intelligence, this creator has created life and spread itself across the cosmos. And that means it is present in every location all of the time, and that means it's here with you, with every minute of your day, with every year of your life. It is always there. And because it is, with you, no matter how it looks, no matter how it feels, no matter what you think, with you, all is well. All is well. And so it is.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within. When I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find. Spirit meets me there, Spirit meets me there.
We close our service as we always do with an affirmation card, and yours looks exactly like mine. Would you say it aloud with me, please? There is one infinite intelligence that makes all things out of itself. I am its original creation. Let's know this together. There is one life in the universe, one power, one essence, one presence, one love, out of which all things and all people have been created. We are connected to each other, heart to heart, love to love, mind to mind. We are one. And even when it feels like or looks like we are separated and different, and one is right and the other wrong, none of that is true. We are all connected. In the heart of God, in the mind of God, there's one life. That intelligence within us operates as our own wisdom and guides us to make good choices. It's love lives inside of us as a desire to be let out. Love, our desire for love, isn't a desire to get somebody to love us. It's a desire to let out the love that already lives inside of us. And so we have everything we need to succeed in life. We have love, we have authority, we have wisdom, and we know the source of it. So we are grateful. And so it is. Thank you, CSL. It's my joy to be with you and privilege. I'll see you next week at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook live stream and in the room. Have a good week.
Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting CSL. If you'd like to know more about us, check us out on our website or social media. Blessings.